What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another Pitching Ninja's Filthiest Pitches of the Day. Remember, before we get to those pitches, hit that subscribe button. Join Ninja Nation. Be a part of the biggest and best daily baseball show on YouTube. And yes, that was the sound of me dropping something on my desk, but I'm going to keep it in there just to show you that I do record this every morning. And now, without further ado, here are my filthiest pitches of the day. I'm going to start with Jose Barrios. Had a really good outing with 7 strikeouts in 7 innings, giving up only 2 hits and 2 runs. He had these wicked 2-seamers, changeups, and this slurve. He went up against Cole Ragans, who had 6 Ks in 5 2/3 innings, giving up only 1 hit and 2 runs. Ragans had yet another dominant outing with his fastball, changeup, and sliders, and had a White Castle special. He lost his 26-inning scoreless streak in a very unique way this game. He threw 3 consecutive very wild pitches. I mean, look at these. He even tore up the backstop with one of them. After the game, he said it wasn't the yips or anything or an injury. He just caught a spike twice. Here's a 3-pitch overlay of those wild pitches. And you can see he really doesn't tunnel them very well, but it's freaking hilarious. Look at those bodies going everywhere. Keaton Winn had a very nice outing, going 6 innings with 9 Ks, giving up 3 runs. He had these upper 90s fastballs as well as these wicked splitters, and a splitter was the pitch of the game for him. Winn had 18 whiffs on a splitter this game for a very nice 69% whiff rate. Just a nice outing all around. Grayson Rodriguez had 6 Ks in 4 1/3 innings, giving up 2 earned runs. He had these fastballs, including this elevated fastball, as well as these nasty changeups. And he battled Brian Bayo, who had 4 Ks in 5 innings, giving up 3 runs, and had this slider. Hunter Green had 9 Ks in 6 innings, giving up only 1 hit. Hunter Green is a freaking roller coaster, but this was the upside of the roller coaster. He just totally dominated with these heaters and nasty sliders, and looked outstanding. Tanner Bybee had 8 Ks in 7 innings, giving up only 2 runs, and had this fastball, sliders, and changeup. He's got a 3.03 ERA this year and has got to get some respect in the Rookie of the Year voting. He faced Kenny Rosenberg, who had 4 Ks in 5 innings, giving up only 1 run. Rosenberg had these changeups and got all fired up. You can read Rosenberg's lips if you want to. Apparently, he's not a good lip reader of his own lips. Zach Eflin had 6 Ks in 5 innings, giving up 3 runs, and had these painted fastballs. He faced Bryce Miller, who had 7 strikeouts in 6 innings, but gave up 5 runs. He got a K against Siri on this fastball, and then Siri walked back to the dugout, rubbing his eyes like he couldn't see it, which happens a lot with Bryce Miller's fastball. Sawyer Gibson-Long made his major league debut and had 5 strikeouts in 5 innings, giving up 2 runs. He had this fastball with some pretty good movement, as well as these sliders and changeups, and I thought he looked solid, despite not having high-end velo. He faced Jesse Schultens, who had 4 Ks in 5 innings, giving up 3 runs, and had these fastballs at the knees, as well as these nasty curveballs. Ryan Yarbrough had 5 Ks in 4 innings, giving up 2 runs, and had this fastball, cutter, and slow curveballs. Kyle Hendricks had 4 Ks in 5 2/3 innings, giving up 2 runs, and had these filthy changeups. Alan Winans had a solid start for the Braves with 8 strikeouts in 6 1/3 innings, giving up only 2 runs, and really dominated using his fastballs and sliders. And I love this hilarious attempt by Travis d'Arnaud, trying to save Winans a few pitches by catching this foul ball. He looked like me trying to catch anything in MLB The Show. Absolutely hilarious. D'Arnaud's comic timing is impeccable. You might remember him falling down after getting hit by this eephus pitch last year and playing dead. Ranger Suarez had 10 Ks in 6 1/3 innings, giving up 3 runs on only 2 hits. He took a no-hitter fairly deep into this game and mowed hitters down with his fastball, cutter, changeups, and beautiful slow curveballs. J.P. France had 5 Ks in 6 innings, giving up only 1 run, and had these changeups and sweepers. He faced Matt Waldron, who only had 1 K in 5 innings, giving up 4 runs, but had these absolutely gorgeous knuckleballs. Knuckleballs are probably the prettiest pitch in baseball, and these are fantastic. Look at the movement on them. Totally too pretty to hit or catch. In the best pitchers duel of the day, Corbin Burnes faced Gerrit Cole. Burnes was amazing, throwing 8 no-hit innings with 7 strikeouts, and the Brewers combined for 10 no-hit innings in this game. Burnes had this wicked curveball, but I thought his cutter really stood out yesterday, and he picked up 8 whiffs on that cutter. Gerrit Cole was also really good with 9 strikeouts and 7 scoreless innings, giving up only 3 hits. He dominated the Brewers with his fastballs and knuckle curves, and this kind of sewed up the Cy Young Award for Gerrit Cole this year. Tylor Megill had 2 Ks in 5 innings and had this dirty curveball, and he faced yesterday's filthiest starting pitcher of the day, Pablo Lopez. Lopez turned in one of the best pitching performances all year with 14 strikeouts in 8 innings, giving up only 2 hits, no walks, and no runs. He absolutely destroyed Mets hitters with his combination of fastballs, changeups, curveballs, and sweepers. And this outing took him over 200 strikeouts for the season. Here's an overlay of his fastball and sweeper, and you can see why that combination is deadly. And then I did this 3-pitch overlay of his fastball, sweeper, and changeup, and you can see how that forms that triangle of death and why when Lopez is on, he can have outings like this. Here's Lopez's pitch breakdown for the game, and he became only the second Twin to have 14 strikeouts or more and no walks in a game. The other was Johan Santana, who happens to be Pablo Lopez's idol. He and I talked about this at the All-Star game.
Your biggest influence pitching, who did you imitate growing up?
So growing up, I love watching King Felix. We're in King Felix's house right now. Johan Santana, he was from the left side, so I just mainly like him, watch him dominate. Hannibal Sanchez, so those were the 3 guys that I idolized. They were Venezuelan, so they would get a lot of cover, a lot of screen time, airtime back home. So I grew up idolizing all 3 of them and having able to interact with them now. So every time I see them, I'm like, I want to ask you guys so much. I'm such a big fan of you guys. You guys have helped me tremendously.
Now onto my filthiest relievers. Camilo Doval had this slider. Abner Uribe had this flaming 2-seamer. And threw the Brewers' 10th no-hit inning yesterday, thanks in part to this absolutely amazing catch. This catch saved both the no-hitter and the game for the Brewers, although they did go on to lose it. Andrew Heaney painted with his slider and fastball. Devin Williams had this nasty airbender and fastball and kept the no-hitter alive in the 9th. And here's an overlay of his airbender and fastball to Judge. And you can see what makes Devin Williams one of the elite closers in baseball. Jordan Romano had this fastball and slider. Tanner Scott had these fastballs and slider. Tyler Rogers had this rising slider that was both unhittable and uncatchable. That thing is a total UFO. Josh Winkowski had this changeup, fastball, and cutter. Alex Lang had these hammer curveballs. Garrett Whitlock had this changeup and fastball. And my filthiest reliever of the day yesterday was Jimmy the Human Glitch Herget. Herget picked up 3 Ks on these frisbee curveballs and had this curveball that ended up behind the hitter for a sword. Filthy, filthy stuff. And now my pitching ninja moment of zen. John Brebbier's interview with David Cohn last night was absolutely hilarious. I love a man who takes his pitching seriously.
I mean, how do you guys stay loose in terms of, maybe some games you play together or some inside jokes or, some nicknames?
Yeah, this isn't a game to us, David. This is all business all the time, all serious. So we'll talk stocks, we'll talk agrarian cultures and the rise and fall of empires, but we'll never play games. That's one thing I can promise you.
By the way, I also love the Rogers twins drinking simultaneously during David Cohn's bullpen segment. What is up, everybody? My picks of the day today are a 3-leg parlay. I'm going to start with Gavin Williams for 5 Ks or more, then take Dean Kramer for 5 Ks or more, and top it off with Jesus Luzardo for 7 Ks or more. What would your picks of the day be?